pandemic, and I've slowly built things out ever since. I got a little Baofeng handheld that I used for the learning nets, and it was sitting right here and worked great as a base station. But after about a year, I decided, okay, I'm going to get a base station transceiver, and I picked the Yaesu 991A, and I went down to HRO in Centennial. They had it in stock, bought one, came home, hooked it up, and I almost immediately, and you may remember this, but I almost immediately started getting scratchy signal reports,
Hmm.
like on the learning net and just on repeaters. And everybody kept saying I had scratchy signal reports. And so I started into my trying to figure out what was going on. I brought it up on the learning net and posted it on social media sites. And I tried putting a ferrite bead on the feed line. I messed with my audio settings. I built out a really nice station ground. I did a full system reset on the 991, checked all my connections. Nothing seemed to work. I kept getting scratchy signal reports. So I packed it up. I took it back down to HRO and I said, can you guys help me out? I'm getting just bad
Yeah.
signal reports. So a person who identified himself as the manager of that store put it on the bench, ran a test, told me that my finals were blown and I needed to send it back to Yaesu.
Huh.
And so I was a little bit alarmed, but a little bit relieved to know what was going on. So I packed it up, shipped it back to Yaesu. I think that's in California where they do that. 5 weeks go by. I get a call from a tech at Yaesu by the name of Roger, who says, I've got your 991 here on my bench. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. What's going on? So I told him the story I just told you. He says, I tell you what, I'll ship it back to you. And when you get it back, give me a call. We'll figure it out. And it's supposed to arrive back here tomorrow.
Okay. Interesting.
So I'm kind of like, this is new on me. I never had a transceiver like that before. So
Yeah.
I'm just learning. I guess it's just part of the hobby. Learn what
Yeah.
you're doing as you go along.
Interesting. So yeah, I'm not really sure on that. Is it final amplifier? Is that what that is? I guess. Or
I thought that's what he meant, but again, I never had I
no.
never had a real
Yeah.
base station transceiver before. So I watched him do the test, and it made sense when he ran it. I couldn't quite repeat what he did. He adjusted a few things and said, "Oh, look, you're not getting any power here." I thought, okay, he knows what he's doing. And if I believe Yezu, I'm inclined to believe Yezu here, since it went back to them. Sounds like that was not correct, and I'm going to need to keep
Hmm.
working on it once it gets back here. It might be something simple that I mean, it's got to be something simple that I just haven't
Yeah.
touched on yet. A bad cable, or I don't know what. But when it gets back here tomorrow, I'll be back on the learning net and back on this call, trying to
Yeah. I
sort
guess it's
through it, figure it out.
okay. Interesting. And they good evening for a few people that joined here. We got Jeff and uh, G Kerr. Thanks for joining here. Ed was just telling a story about his 991A and bad signal reports. So trying to get that repaired here. So they transmit and they weren't able to replicate the problem. I guess is what it sounds like.
Well, for Jeff and G's benefit, I had a 991A, bad signal reports, took it back to HRO where I bought it. They said the finals were blown, sent it back to Yaesu. They said, no, no, it's fine. It's coming back tomorrow and I'm going to continue my diagnostics. They couldn't replicate it when I took it back in because he said my finals were blown. He said he, it wasn't working. So, he had it on the bench for 5 or 10 minutes before. And I just believed him. I thought, oh, okay. He says it's not
Right.
working. It must not be working. So I sent it back, and I mean, like I said, I never had a real base station transceiver before, so I'm in a learning curve of getting it set up. I got the power source and a Linko DM530 at the same time. That's apparently a fine power source. I've got a nice station ground built out now. Uh, Maybe I need to get my own diagnostic tools in the shack to begin to try and measure power and stuff like that myself.
And I was going to say, Edgar, do you have a dummy load and a meter to measure the output?
I don't have a dummy load, but great thing for me to get or watch a video and learn how to build one myself. for possibly, so I can begin to troubleshoot something like this. Yeah, like I was just saying, I don't. It's got to be obviously the radio works. As I looked at it, I know I had my handheld hooked up in this shack right here, running great. So I know the antenna's fine. The feed line must be good. So it's just a little bit of a head scratcher.
What kind of antenna are you feeding it into?
It's a what's that one up in Cheyenne? It's a dual band ground plane. The all solid aluminum one with the 4 radios that come out 23 feet up in the air just outside here. Um, that Mark Thomas had recommended because he had them and they worked great. I'm drawing a blank on the name of that company, but it's a common antenna company.
And how long is the coax that you're feeding it with?
Well, there's 2 sections and both of them about 22 or 23 feet. One coming down the mast to the ground rod and the lightning arrestor, and the other one coming into the shack from there. So it is 6 feet of coax.
No water getting into anything?
Well, I got one of those little plastic fake rocks over top of the whole ground rod and the connections. I doubt there's water getting in that. And then the connection, I have a window pass through, an MFJ window pass through here that's under an overhang.
And are you coupling those 2 pieces of coax, or are they
At
sealed?
the polyphaser, they go on either side of
Okay,
that,
okay.
which is under the rock, the plastic fake rock thing that keeps the water off of it.
Sometimes it's good just to take a voltometer and make sure that you don't have anything conducting between the interconductor and the shield.
Well, am I correct that if I do put another transceiver on there and it works fine, does that rule a few things out, or am I making a false assumption there? In other words, I put my little cheapo Baofeng on there and I get great signal reports.
One would assume, but never assume,
Right. Right. So I got to get, what kind of meter were you just saying?
Well, sometimes it's good just to check the coax with a voltmeter, so make sure you don't have any conductance between the interconductor and the shield. Something shorting somewhere.
Because there would be 3 sections of coax from the antenna down the mast to the polyphaser, from the polyphaser to the window pass-through, and then from the window pass-through to the transceiver. Now, when I switch radios, that is a new piece of coax from the window pass-through to the transceiver.
You might just disconnect it at the polyphaser and disconnect it inside and make sure that nothing's shorted between the coax and the shield anywhere.
How do I do that?
Just take a voltometer and just test from
with nothing going through it.
Yeah, with the interconductor to the outer shield, make sure there's zero or it's an open circuit.
Okay. I mean, the only other place that's hard to test would be at the top of the mast.
Yeah.
Right at the antenna. And I did, the 2 different kinds of tape. And I mean, I tried to weatherproof it, but I suppose water could have gotten in up there. But that would have messed with the other transceiver too, I would have thought, if that was it.
And I think the club somewhere has a, what's the term I'm looking for? The thing that'll check the impedance of your antenna and stuff.
Oh, club loaner. That's a good thought. And that way I never actually used one, so I could get hands-on and mess with it before I pick one and buy one when I don't actually know what I'm buying. Well, I haven't used one since undergrad, a long time ago.
It's the kind of thing you use so rarely that if there's a loaner you can use.
Yeah, so maybe
we used to use a grid dip meter, but these days you have these fancy, things like MFJ sold, and I'm trying to pull out the name of it. Daron, help me.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I was trying to bring up. Oh, good.
Well, this is good. I'm making notes here because when it arrives back tomorrow, I'll be both on the line with the Yaesu tech, trying these things we're coming up with now, and something's going to be it. I can't imagine it's a mystery. This has got to be figure outable. If I have a working transceiver and a working antenna, it's got to be something simple that I just haven't quite hit on yet.
Antenna analyzer is the term I'm looking for.
And I think there might be one built into the 991, possibly. Maybe not. I'll check into that too. I'm just learning the transceiver too, but I know it's got a lot of goodies on it.
I was just going to play some audio of when you checked in on the 6th. Let me see if I can get this here for an example of that. That was on the. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control.
That is really high tech there, Daron.
Yeah.
To be able to pull that up.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for the last few minutes. I was trying to find another example, though, but that one sounded okay. That was on the 6th, at least, and you were asking about raising your squelch, I think, on that one. But it didn't sound too bad, but yeah, a little bit scratchy. Is that kind of what everyone else is kind of mentioning as well?
Most people said really scratchy. A couple found it hard to understand me. We're going back a month, 6 weeks now since I was gone for all of April and the transceiver wasn't here. But I was getting pretty consistent. Hey, your signal doesn't sound good. And so I knew something wasn't quite right because I never got that with the other transceiver I was using. It was new on me, and I just thought it's a complicated enough transceiver that I haven't yet learned the settings and all of what you got to do since I'm still somewhat new at all this.
And you said you used the same antenna with the old transceiver?
It was Arrow. It's an Arrow. Just remember the company, Arrow Industries dual band ground plane antenna. Yeah, same antenna. Which I thought I built this great. Man, I got one of those 21-foot sections of fence posts, and I put it up in the air, and I thought I'm a real ham because it worked. But now, of course, I'm second guessing everything because I don't know what the problem with this is.
Have you tried using that antenna on an HT or? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you know what I should do is put that handheld. Good evening, Jerry. I should put that handheld back in here and try it again because I have it and I just haven't rehooked it back up because I got so used to having a fancy new transceiver that I didn't want to go back to it. But I should probably bring it back in here and rehook it up to check myself again. Plus, I could start participating more till I get the one back again.
Well, and maybe go out and check it, right at the antenna, then on the downstream side of the polyphaser, and then into the shack, see what kind of signal reports you get at each of those locations.
You would think one of those would come up not right if, in fact, the scratchiness is coming from somewhere.
Be great if you had something that could be on simplex. And
I tried that one night with someone after the Learning Net a month, 6 weeks ago, and he told me he couldn't even hear me. It was just he couldn't even hear me. So that's when I realized something's not right.
Yeah, it almost sounds like your output was not turned up or something.
And on that 991, you can adjust your power. On my 400 out in the vehicle, you have to pick 5 or 15 or 50, as I recall. But on the 991, you could put it where you want it. And so I was trying lots of power, not so much power. I tried a bunch of different power settings. It didn't seem to fix it.
That's weird. And that may be why HRO thought it was blown finals, because for some reason you just weren't outputting.
Right. I forget that gentleman's name, but he seemed pretty sure. And I didn't even know. I still don't even know what blown finals are, but that was the term he used.
Well, that's your power amplifiers. So
I knew it didn't sound good.
Yeah, they're transistors usually too that are the power amplifiers that provide your RF output.
So it's comforting to know. I mean, I was comforted to know he thought he knew what it was, but now I'm comforted to know it's apparently not broken.
But again, that could be a setting. It could be that for some reason the transmitter wasn't getting keyed, or
Right. And so this gentleman, the Azu tech, Roger, he gave me his number and his extension. Once I get it back here, he said he'd help troubleshoot this with
cool.
me.
That's great.
But I may need, somebody on, like you said, some random simplex frequency to be giving me maybe on a chat or something to give me feedback on what it sounds like when that time comes. I tried doing it, listening to myself on the handheld, but that's a little
Yeah.
hokey.
And we do have a few of our repeaters on Broadcastify. It's not going to be the best audio, but we do. Let me see if I can bring up the link. They live stream the audio from our some of our repeaters.
What part of town are you in, Roger or Edgar?
Just west of Old Town, 3/4 of a mile west of Old Town, across the street from the food bank, if you know where that is.
Okay, yeah.
Right across the street. So it's just, and I think it sounds like it's just part of the learning curve of being a new ham is this is my chance to fumble around and troubleshoot and learn a little about that
Yeah.
since I haven't yet figured it out. It's been a couple months. So, at first you're like, oh, I bought this expensive new transceiver. I'm golden. And then you realize, oh, I'm not so golden. And now I've just accepted I'm on this journey that I'm going to be on for a little while to figure this out.
Yeah. Have you made any successful, good audio contacts at all with it?
I thought that I had. I changed. What did I change? I put the ferrite bead on it, and I had a contact that sounded like I had a decent signal. I thought, hey, I've got it fixed, and then I got more bad signal reports, and I thought, oh, maybe I don't have it fixed, and that's when I boxed it up and took it into HRO, and they told me it was blown, and so that sent me down this 6-week rabbit
Yeah.
hole, if you will, which was fine because I was traveling for all of April. I thought, perfect, I'll ship
Yeah.
it in. I'm traveling, I get back, and so now I'm back, and I'm on the Elmer session, telling the story
Yeah.
as I try and figure out what to do next.
Are you using the stock handheld mic or what?
Yeah, that's still here. Where is it? I don't know if I put it in the. Oh, and some people like on social media, the stock handheld. This is what came with it.
What radio are you talking about?
It's a Yaesu
Amber?
991A.
Okay, you're in Old Town, Arvada.
Yes.
Maybe you can bring it over sometime and we'll see what I can do with it here.
I've definitely heard
Jerry.
you talking to people because you're easily audible from here.
Yeah, Jerry, he took it
Yeah.
into HRO and they told him the finals were blown, so they shipped it back to Yaesu, and Yaesu says the thing checks out fine. So
I don't know anything particularly about that radio, but we can bring it over here and see if it's putting anything out.
Yeah, I mean that any
Get a time we could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be back. FedEx is supposed to bring it by tomorrow, and then I'll have it in my paws, and I can take you up on that, Jerry. Or like I said, this gentleman Roger at Yaesu said he would help me troubleshoot it. I'll be trying to figure this out as soon as I get it back in my paws here.
Okay.
and is that
Hopefully,
Grand Plain? Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I keep saying the same thing over again, but I'm going to figure this out. It's figure outable. It's got to be something. It's not like I live in a static vortex or something. I can't
Right.
imagine.
It's brand new. That's disappointing as well. Yeah.
Right, that was a little tough pill when I realized I just bought a brand new transceiver and it doesn't work, especially when you spend that much. But I'm over that. Now I'm on to let's get the thing working right.
Yeah.
And does that antenna just cover 2 bands, or?
Yeah, it's got the 2 elements on it, a 70 centimeter. I think it's a 5/8 on a 70 and a 2 meter. It's on the Arrow Industries website.
So have you played with anything on HF?
No, but right out here are 2 trees about 70 feet apart. So I have and I've been waiting for the snow to melt. It's melted. I've been wanting to put a wire up between those two trees,
Cool.
but I needed to build out the shack, put in the ground, get the new transceiver. And this has been a bit of a road I've been walking down. So now I can, with the fair weather, order that dipole antenna, put that up, get another feed line, drive another ground rod, go through the whole thing again, and get on HF here, hopefully.
So how you been, Jerry?
I'm doing okay. My picture got small here. I'm trying to figure out what happened. Huh. I might have to restart it or something.
And good evening, Ron. Thanks for joining us as well.
What's that?
I was just welcoming everyone here. Well, good luck, Ed. It's been a long issue.
Yeah, I'm fully on board with it now. I'm just going to work the problem and figure it out. We have enough resources in the club and at AZU to figure it out. Oh, you know what? Somebody, Jerry, just said that there's possibly a loaner stuff the club has, like antenna analyzer. Is that correct?
Doesn't the club have a?
Yeah. We have one. Have to locate it.
Or I could just, like you said, bring it over to your place and
Well, we can.
pick your brain.
I've got test equipment. We could, I've got known good antennas and stuff like that. I might have to restart. I can't get this thing to
I think it just takes your camera. I don't think you can really resize it.
yeah, it just went. It went like postage, and I don't know why. I'm not real good with this Mac, and
Is the physical
those
camera
things.
pointed downwards, or is it a laptop?
No, it ain't. Just my screen went small,
Ah,
and I can't get it to enlarge. It should be one of these, but
Well, if you had a real computer, you could right click, but
well, really, yeah.
That usually happens at the beginning of a presentation.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
kind of usually. I think I'll maybe I don't know what else to do but restart it.
when in doubt, reboot.
Oh, there, now it came back. I don't know what I just did. Anyway, okay,
Magic.
don't touch nothing.
how's the ecosystem for apps on Mac for ham radio? Are ham radio apps brought over to the Mac system, Apple system? I haven't really used an Apple product in a while.
Well, it doesn't do the dumb things that Windows does, but it does its own dumb things. So
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Well, cool. It's just a few of us here.
anyway,
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
No, that's all right. I just gonna nothing. Go ahead.
No problem. Yeah, anyone else on here? This is the Elmer Session. Great place to learn about ham radio. So if you guys have any questions or projects you want to talk about, let us know. Let's see. Over on our Sunday night net, there was a request for volunteers for a rally, Colorado. See if I can bring it up here.
I was going to announce when we get more people here, but we need more people for the siren test on June 5th. So anybody's available, get a hold of preferably Kevin Schmidt, or if you can't reach him, me. And it's just take a couple hours out of your day. It's a real good service to the community, but it's just we're a little shy of operators.
Which city is that for?
Lakewood.
Okay, gotcha. Looks like I have the wrong date. I was going to try to update this here real quick. But yeah, a lot of ham radio opportunities with our club and other clubs. So don't be scared. And if you have the time, it's a great opportunities.
Yeah, it doesn't take. You get pizza and a soft drink, and it's a pretty good fellowship actually. During that, after the test, so
Yes, that's nice of them to be able to do that. Absolutely.
well, it's a big help for the city because you can get out there and do all the sirens at once, and that really helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're
Let's see.
kind of
What's
we've
that?
got our we've got our we've got radios always there at the EOC at Lakewood EOC, and we're kind of part of their emergency plan. So
Yes, absolutely. I think we had a video from a few years ago. Yeah, siren test. This was for the Wheat Ridge at least, at my location. But yeah, if you haven't done it, it's pretty just a few hours, and just go listen to the siren tests, make sure that things work correctly. Oh.
W0BKS bar, we copy that. Thank you very much.
there's Jim.
Yep.
Yeah, that was probably 3 years ago, at least, because I did it last year. He's got control, so,
Copy that. Thank you very much.
and I
Yeah.
helped him the year before. So
0GWF.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. 1,000 things open. Anyone else at the moment? Let us know.
hey, Ed, that radio, what have you tried it on? I don't know.
Well,
the
I
radio.
only have the dual band antenna up, so just 70 centimeter, mostly 2 meters.
See,
on our
it's a
repeater.
dual band VHF UA. I don't even know the model, but
Well, and it's got HF capability. I just don't have an antenna up yet. So
Okay.
that was part of my shack build out, was get a actual
I
real
wouldn't-
base station transceiver, get
I-
it working, climb
I
some
don't know the
trees.
radio, but I think we can figure it out. I wouldn't be a bit surprised you just don't have a bad setting somewhere, especially if they said the finals were okay.
I bet you're.
So-
I mean, you got to be right. It's got to be. And I watched I watched some videos on the settings. I messed with them, and
Mm,
then I did a whole factory reset. I don't have a lot of experience with that transceiver, so I might have not
well,
done it right.
that's okay. Yeah.
But I think you're right. It's something
You gotta learn
like that.
somewhere.
Right. You got to jump in and fall flat on your face and figure it out.
See all this stuff. I gotta clean my shack up. I got 2 repeaters here. Too many projects, too little time.
I guess that's when you're experienced enough that you have so much stuff in your shack,
Well,
It's-
it,
crowded.
it takes time. Yeah. Comes with time.
Any report from the CCARC meeting, Jerry? Was that over the weekend?
It was a couple weeks ago. I don't remember what day. Nothing earth shattering. Tracy Hemholt, who is not the frequency coordinator anymore, and I can't remember who it is now, but I'm sure it's on the website. Tracy moved to Iowa, and he did it up until recently. He's back and forth here, but I don't remember who was elected.
Is it Mike? K0GUR?
Oh yeah, Mike Gursky. Yeah, that must have been it. Okay. And Mike Gursky.
Okay.
I didn't remember that, but it's kind of an eye chart, but you see it. There's, oh yeah, Mike Gursky. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It might be interesting for Edgar to know what CCARC does. If anybody feels like
What it does, or is that
expounding
a
what their
statement
purpose
or?
is and what they do.
Yeah, well, they're basically the frequency coordinator for the state of Colorado that's their main function. So to try to keep the repeaters coordinated, and they've got certain parameters that they go by to approve the coordinations, and that's their main function. Is just that, and a lot of repeaters, a lot of different bands, It's kind of a big job, especially if you don't keep a handle on it. And there's their policy. Yeah.
Yeah. Organization, radio clubs, associations, individuals, incorporated, nonprofit under state law of Colorado, voluntary association, amateur radio operators, repeater systems owners, interested parties, collectively determined that the coordination of repeater systems is essential to maximize the finite spectrum resources allocated to amateur radio and minimize the interference between systems. Success of their effort is solely dependent on those who cooperate. So there is a list of quite a few clubs on their site, I believe.
There's a small, it depends on the size of your club. The organizations or private individuals that have a repeater pay a small yearly fee. I think we pay, we're one of the big clubs, and I think we pay just $25, and they do some other things to. They make up maps which are sold at HRO, and you can also order them. But the repeater maps, they're really nice. They're heavy paper and they're laminated. They're so if they get wet or something, they don't roll up in a ball.
Are there states that are examples that don't have this sort of effort? Or is everyone fairly good about this?
As far as coordination?
Yeah,
Or
I guess just across the nation, or are there other states or other places that
Well, I
don't
think
do
every
this?
state has I believe every state has a frequency coordinating group. Wyoming does, Utah does.
Right.
And the FCC, if it comes to that, they'll lean towards the coordinated repeaters if you got a rogue out there. Yeah, if it seldom comes to that, but so it carries a little bit of weight. Like I say,
And
it
we
is
don't-
voluntary.
Yeah. I mean, we don't own 14549, for example, do we? I guess just as a separate question. I mean, do we own that frequency or not? I wouldn't think we do, but
Well, I don't think anybody owns any of the
Right.
frequencies. There's some different. You can have a private repeater. There are some, and you can. If I've got a repeater, I can set it up so I don't want. I just want a select group to operate on it, but you don't own the frequency.
right. Didn't think so. Okay.
So, it's everybody understand, or some of us do, that is our presenter here yet? We're
Not yet.
gonna start early. He's got a scheduling problem, so I'll make an announcement in a minute. I'm gonna try to break him at 7:00 and make the announcement again. And so anybody misses the first part,
And Jerry, I think he resolved his conflict, so he's going to be here at 7.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't, okay. He will, okay, so forget all of that. He'll be here at 7.
Sounds good. Good evening, Tom Orland. Thanks for joining here.
Orland's in his cave there. I got this bright light overhead, but pretty much takes care of it. And I got my, hear a little CW in the background. I had the remote running here.
Well, for those of us who just joined us, Ed Reed was talking about his FT991A transmission bows. And sounds like hopefully with a coordinated effort with Jerry, we'll put it up with known good equipment and hopefully get that solved for him. Yeah, absolutely. Upcoming volunteer events, we were just mentioning our siren tests coming up on June 5th for Lakewood. What else here? Yeah, it's been pretty quiet so far. If anybody has anything, otherwise we can look back what we talked about the last couple of weeks during the Learning Net or anything else.
Hey, we were talking to Edgar about some issues he's been having with his shack, and didn't we have an antenna analyzer at one point for loan out? Do you have that? Or?
Yeah, like I said, I just have to locate it.
I was asking Orland if.
Oh, yes, okay. I don't think
Orland's hearing me.
Hey, Orland,
Yes.
do we have an antenna analyzer that the club can loan out? Is that something that you have in your possession?
Yes, we have two of them. Two of them I have here. I believe Bill has another one. OAV has another one, but have two MFJs.
Okay. I guess if we need that, Ed, we can try to get that to you there. Yeah.
So Orland, I have a Aero Industries dual band ground plane. Which would be the right one to analyze that antenna?
Okay, so that's a 2 meter 70 centimeter.
Yes.
Okay, that I have an MFJ 269 that'll work for that.
Okay, so I need to get with you to figure out how to borrow that.
Yeah. What part of the world do you live in?
Just outside Old Town Arvada.
Oh, okay. I'm over here out in Pleasant View, just outside of Golden. Do you know where the Rock Rest is? On
Is
the old
that on
Golden Road?
South Golden Road?
Yeah.
I think I know where that is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a couple of blocks from there.
Can almost ride my bike over there, but I certainly could get there. This transceiver that I'm troubleshooting should arrive back tomorrow. FedEx is supposed to deliver it, and I will once again be on my troubleshooting journey, perhaps with Jerry's help, maybe borrowing the antenna analyzer. Yaesu Tech is going to help me. And since I haven't used an antenna analyzer before, perhaps I should go ahead and borrow it and at least do it so I learn how that works.
Why don't you bring the radio? Let's make sure the radio works, and then we'll go from there.
So, so Jerry, I'll call you first. And
Okay.
Do you have some kind of a dummy load that you can run that radio into to test it?
no, but that's on my list too. Does it make one or get one?
I've got that stuff here.
You can borrow one.
Yeah.
And I can,
The
okay, Jerry's.
The club has a dummy load too.
So everything I need is on this call. I just need to get the transceiver back and roll up my sleeves, it sounds like.
What was the problem? What was it not doing?
2 months ago, I finally pulled the trigger and bought a new base station transceiver. It was the Yaesu 991A. Put it in my shack and almost immediately started getting scratchy signal reports. Took a bunch of steps trying to figure it out. Couldn't figure it out. drove back to HRO in Centennial, showed it to him. The manager put it on the bench, told me the finals were blown, sent it back to Yezu. Sent it back to Yezu. 5 weeks later, I got a call from Yezu telling me the radio's fine. There's nothing wrong with this radio. So they're shipping it back to me. I'm supposed to get it back tomorrow, and I'll be back at square one trying to figure out why am I getting scratchy signal reports. And so we've had the conversation about that so far tonight. Jerry's going to help, and a bunch of other ideas I've made notes about here.
Well, Jesus should know if anybody does.
Yeah, I suspect this Roger guy was right. I mean, he had it on his bench when he called me. He said it's fine. I suspect he's right, and it's just like Jerry said, some setting I don't
What I
have
said
right.
is make sure the radio works and then worry about your antenna.
Right. It's all going to be learning for me, so it'll be
That's
however
not
many
bad.
more. Yeah, it'll be all good. However many weeks it takes, I'll learn something in the process.
I'd cast an eye on that mic that didn't go back to Yesu with it.
Well, and I could see doing a mic upgrade, but I sure would like to know if the one that came with it is working
Works,
or not.
yeah.
You would think if it's the one that came with it, it should work.
Okay, is that an 8-pin
It's a
RJ45?
modular connector.
Okay.
RJ45.
We have. I couldn't see it. I have a small computer. Okay. We have multiple Yaesu microphones. So if you want to try testing with a different mic, I have. Just looking around the shelf here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Yaesu radios that have that kind of mic, the modular
I got on the
RJ45.
right call, didn't I? This is perfect. That's about half a dozen more mics than I need, but that's fantastic. That will be very helpful as I figure this out. I should do a book report once I figure it out. I should do a newsletter article. This is all how many hoops I had to jump through to figure this out.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Got Ron raising his hand. You got a question there? Go ahead. FPI, Ron.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I got a question for Edgar. In 21, I got my tech license. And the day after I got my tech license, I got a 991 Alpha. It is an extremely awesome radio. It is probably a bit over my head, but I'm learning bits and pieces, have been for 3 years. And the stock mic it came with, I'm still push to talking on it. I think it's an awesome radio. I use mine HF, UHF, VHF. I got it hooked to a different array of antennas. I think it's a wonderful radio. I'm really bummed that you got one out of the box. It's not working for you, and Yasu says there's nothing wrong with it. So when he tested it, called you, hopefully he left all the settings the same, and maybe it'll work for you when you get it back in your hands.
And one of the steps was the factory reset, which I did several times thinking I had set something wrong. So the settings that I messed with may have gone back to the original settings anyway as I was trying things, trying to figure out what was going on.
Well, I think that is a beautiful radio. I've had awesome luck with it, and I am not a Jerry or Daron on the expertise scale, or Kevin, but I'm working along, and I'm really glad I bought that high-end radio when I was a tech. I'm a general now, and working on extra, and it'll happen when it happens. Back to you guys.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure I'll figure it out.
I do got a question for Jerry if he has a sec.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jerry, can we change rooms on our Fusion repeater? Can I go in there and change that room to another place? I know you probably have an automatic timeout. And or can I talk to a club member in the W0TX room? That's my
Yeah.
question.
I'm not proficient on the ASU stuff, but I was in there a couple, 3 days ago, and well, you go into our room, and then from there you can go out to other rooms. So that's my understanding. And you might ask Bill Rinker that question if you can catch him. You catch him a lot of times during the day on the air, and but I was in there 3-4 days ago, and I think I got on the America Link, and there was another one. So, by just going into our room first, you got to go into our room first. So if that helps you at all.
Yeah, I have been in that room and changed it. What I'm asking from you, if that's okay.
Well, you can't really, well, I don't think you can change the room, but you can go into the room and go elsewhere.
Okay,
You can,
fair enough.
yeah. You can go into the room and then go to the America Link or Texas or the other thousands of them that are there. But you got to go into our room first.
Yeah, I've been there a few times and played with that.
Okay. Well, good.
And what was my other thing? Kevin called me yesterday, and I'm taking care of one of the siren sites, like I did
Okay.
last year.
Appreciate it.
And we had 6 people at lunch today.
I'm gonna make that one of these days. I just couldn't do it today, so
We had
but
a
that's a
married,
good deal. 6 people, that's good. That's great.
we had a married couple show up, and I didn't bring my logbook with me, so I don't remember the couple. So
Well, great. I'm glad there were 6 people there. We'll get it up, get more.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. Well, welcome,
that's
everyone.
it for me.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it for me, Jerome.
Oh, perfect. Gotcha. Sounds good. Well, we got 10 minutes left. Hopefully our presenter shows up in a few minutes here so we can test things. Yeah, it's been pretty quiet, but fairly eventful. Thanks for everyone who's been able to attend here this evening. Yeah, again, some radio troubleshooting we were doing, some volunteer opportunities. Let's see. I know that one of the big things over the last week was some fairly big solar flares. So I don't know if there was any propagation effects, negative effects from that anybody tried any bands during that solar flare over the this last week here.
There was definitely effects. The bands were really on their butt for several days. They're kind of coming back a little now, but they were definitely down.
Okay.
At least the ones that I frequent.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was trying to find something on the ARL website, but let me see here.
Yeah, definitely affected.
Yes, quite a large solar storm that will negatively affect bands. There's a solar update on the ARL page. Quite heady, though. But we have talked about solar flux in the past, and on our webpage and other ham clubs, you'll have the propagation information from hamqsl.net. And I forgot exactly. I think I forget which function people were looking at, but doesn't look very good at the moment for their bands. VHF and some HF bands open, so that's good. there's a PSK reporter map. That's always a good kind of place as an indicator for certain bands. Yeah, anyone else on that? I'm struggling to bring this up here. But anyone else at the moment? Go ahead.
Hey, next Thursday's a full moon,
Oh, okay.
and I was going to make an attempt on Mount Elbert. I don't know if I'll get to the summit or not, but that would be my first sort of summit attempt. But I'll only have a handheld with me, so I don't know if there's any way to connect back to the front range should I make it that high or not.
Do phases of the moon affect propagation? I wonder.
I picked that day because I won't need as much of a headlamp. It'll be kind of twilight
Oh,
before
true.
the sun
I guess
comes
so.
up.
Yeah.
It'll make it easier for the approach.
Bill's got his hand up there.
Bill, go ahead. Hey, Bill. Can't hear you.
You must be muted, Bill. Don't hear you.
It doesn't look like you're muted in the Google Meet, but if you can't
You
hear
got
us, feel free to go
your
ahead.
mic selected. So while Bill's figuring that out, did anybody have any effects of the geomagnetic storm? The Aurora Borealis was incredible.
Oh, yes, that as well. Yeah, some really great events here over the last 2 weeks.
I was reading yesterday about some farmers that were dead in the water because they couldn't plant their corn because their GPS tractors wouldn't work for them.
Oh,
I
wow.
was surprised they didn't have a plan B like driving the tractor.
Interesting. Yeah, it's not just amateur radio, I guess. Yeah, GPS is definitely affected by that. So yeah, that would make interesting stories there. Yeah. Hey, Bill, if you can hear us, feel free to go ahead. Oh, mic's not working. Let's see. Found out that this past weekend storm was the largest since 2003. Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking about that a little bit. Don't have enough good technical information from my end, but anyone on that, if you have information, go ahead. Let's see. All right. Anyone else at the moment? We got 5 minutes. Let's see, is our presenter here yet?
I pinged Patrick with the link, so hopefully he'll be
Okay.
here.
All right. Other big story over the last couple of weeks, MFJ ceasing production. That was a few weeks ago, so you may have heard of that. And the effects, knock-on effects from that. Let's see here.
I would kind of expect some other companies to pick up Cushcraft and Meritron and some of the other things that he has under that MFJ umbrella. But that'll be kind of interesting to see what plays out on that one.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
acquired several pretty reputable companies. Really, Cushcraft's been around for eons. And, for the most part, made a pretty good product, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. When we talked about it on Learning That, people definitely have MFJ products, and they're pretty good entry level, medium level, and you don't have to bleed your wallet.
Yeah, I personally never. I could tell you some stories about MFJ stuff. I've had poor luck with MFJ, but other people say never had a problem. And
Gotcha.
but I have had a lot of issues with their stuff. But
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you
Yes.
now, Bill. Yeah.
I'm doing this on a Linux computer, and I just figured out how to set up the microphone.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, if you have any more technical information or anything else on that, go ahead. Feel free. Looks like she's just about to eat something there. Sorry.
Well, I contacted my former colleagues and was also able to look at some of the data that's on the web. And, this was a serious storm in excess of a K9 at the higher latitudes. So that I haven't heard any sort of after action reports, but I hope to meet some of these people on Friday and find out what they did.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, that'd be great to hear on that. Didn't seem like there was it knocked out a whole lot of wireless telecom, or wasn't reported, at least. It didn't seem like, but very neat.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything either. Most of the news is the flooding and tornadoes and
Yes, absolutely.
all that bad stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. All right. Well, got just a few more minutes here, but I guess until our presenter shows up. Let's see. What else? Anyone else? Comments, questions? This is the Elmer Session. Get general Q&A about ham radio, STEM topics. Any projects you guys are working on, let us know. Let's see.
See, Tom's in the, what are you in a spaceship there, Tom, or what? What are all the little characters behind you?
Yeah. What else here? Anyone else? I can read out some articles here, but anything you guys want to talk about, let us know.
Is our presenter on yet?
Not that I see. I'm getting nervous.
I do not see him in the list there.
Yeah, we got what? 16 people on, it looks like.
What else were we talking about on our Learning Net? Another DRC Saturday event is being rescheduled. Our Pico Balloon is being rescheduled
Right.
for our field day. So more updates on our website as they come out. So
Yeah, we just couldn't quite get it together in time. So,
yeah.
you know,
Which,
it'd be
which
good.
one is
It'd be
that?
great if we can do it at field day. That'll be even better, but there's some things we gotta make sure of. So
So the 25th is off. Is that what I just heard?
the 25th is off. We may do a email blast on that. I gotta do it soon. But the problem with the email blast is that we only get so many for what we pay for, so to speak. So gotta try to concentrate them. But this is probably one, gotta make a decision here, get it out. So because there's nothing else been put out about it location wise or anything. But we will try to do it field day.
Mhm.
And maybe we can get our act together by then. The last DRC Saturday, the first one for the year, it went well. It was fun. We had 3 people building the Ballon, and we had I guess about 3 other onlookers, myself and a couple others, plus out at Mark's place, and in his garage. It was real comfortable. Anyway, I'll just make some of my announcements, and we're going to look at doing decided exactly yet. We do have a place that we can meet. Actually, any of you that have previously done the siren test in Lakewood, it's that long room downstairs there where we have the pizza and the Pepsi after the, we've got that cleared through the command staff that we can use that at Lakewood PD. So we're thinking about and I'm just talking off the top of my head, and that is maybe having quarterly face-to-face. Our membership, a lot of people want to just keep doing virtual, and a lot of people want to get back to the face-to-face.